Hey, good morning, welcome to the JeepSolid Garage. Today we're going to continue with preparation for our stroker build to go into my 94 YJ. My last video, I got the engine taken out. With the engine out, it's the best time to clean up the engine bay. Obviously, it's pretty dirty inside here, need to scrub it all down, and I am going to end up painting it. One of the fenders here, you can tell that fender obviously was replaced. It was red at some point. I did not replace that. The previous owner did, but I want to get that painted black. I'm going to go with a flat black, just all on the inside here. I really like using a flat black paint because it's quick, it's easy, and most importantly to me, it's easy to repair. If you get a bad scratch or something you need to fix up, just sand it down a little bit, hit it with a little bit of black, flat black paint, and it cleans up real nice. A lot of dirt and grime in here, going to scrub that off. Let's get started. Because there's so much oil and grime and just mud in here, I'm going to start with an initial wipe down and scrub it down with a Scotch-Brite pad here. I'm using Purple Power. I really like Purple Power, not sponsored, but it's one of the best grease fighting cleaners I've got. I am going to remove a lot, or just take a lot of this off the panel so I can get to it and sand it down for painting. But initially, let's just get, yeah, grease is already starting to come off of here already. Let's start with an initial wipe down. All right, got the initial bit of grime knocked off there. So now we're gonna move on to sanding, but first I'm gonna remove a lot of this, get it out of the way, pull the power steering pump out of the way here, my fuel lines, remove the washer fluid reservoir, the coolant overflow, just get as much of that, this wiring, as much of that out of the way as I can so I can sand this down. Hello, it's another day in the shop. We're making some progress, slow progress, but we're making progress. I've got the Jeep, the bay here, sanded up pretty good. We're ready to put our first coat of paint on there. We're also gonna get to the clutch on my existing engine, get that clutch over on the stroker. But first, I wanna get a couple coats of paint on this. I did get this all sanded down pretty good with, I think I used 320 on it. Sanded it down, got a wipe down. We'll get a light coat of paint on here and then hit it with a few different coats to get a good application. And I'm not too worried about what else I hit. I want this black. I don't want it red anymore. I do have a little bit of it taped off. Start with just a light coat, left-handed. That initial coat, you want just a real light coat on there, create a nice tacky surface. Let that dry for about 15 minutes and then start putting our cover coats on it. That'll look good though. And in the meantime, while that's drying, we're gonna hop on over to the clutch here. I'm gonna pull this clutch, put it on the stroker engine. I'm reusing the same clutch because I wanna do a one-to-one comparison of just exactly what the stroker does to the performance of my Jeep. So I am gonna be replacing the clutch on this Jeep eventually. I don't wanna do it now though, because I don't want to skew any of those performance numbers. So I'm taking this old clutch off. I know nothing about this old clutch. I'm still wearing a mask, I'm wearing gloves. I like to, before I remove an old clutch that I don't know anything about, I like to soak it down a little bit. Old clutches, especially old clutches made in some foreign countries, the clutch disc, they can use asbestos in it. I don't want to be breathing any asbestos. So I like to give it a little soaking. Wearing gloves and a mask. Oh, I need some ear protection. I want to be able to hear when I'm older. And now I do have a little white mark right there and right there, so that when I put the pressure plate back on the clutch, I can get it in the exact same relation. If you're reusing the same clutch, you want to be sure to get your parts in the same spot, so that's why it's marked there. Let's see, the pressure plate actually doesn't look that bad itself. I mean, there's a little bit of heat. You can see some discoloration, but not terrible. The disc, boy, it is pretty worn down, but not clear down to the rivets. So, I mean, there's a little bit of clutch material left, but boy, not much. Like 1 to 2 millimeters. Really not much left on that disc. And this pretty smooth. It's not cutting into it at all. So it looks good. I'm gonna hit this fender with another coat real quick. Little heavier coat this time. All right, let's finish taking the flywheel off here. 6 quick little bolts. And now the flywheel, be careful. I dropped one of these on my finger one time. Oh, crushed my finger, squirted blood across the room. That was fun. My finger had a heartbeat. All right, got the flywheel all cleaned up here. Kind of line it up. And fortunately, this is where I crushed my finger last time. Fortunately, the bolt holes are offset, so it'll only go on one way. But be very careful not to crush your fingers. It goes right there. And we'll get a little bit of Loctite on these guys as well. On my old crankshaft, hiding right back in there, we've got a pilot bearing in the crank. On my new crankshaft, I do not have a pilot bearing. I think I've got another one laying around the shop somewhere. I'm gonna have to dig for it. Let's check on the paint. That's gonna look really good. Obviously, still gotta do the back firewall and this side as well. We'll get those done real soon here. You know what I just realized? Let me know if you guys caught this before me. See anything wrong? See anything I forgot to do? Leave a comment. Let me know if you found this ahead of me, if you're quicker and smarter than me. I forgot to take the backing plate off my old engine and put it underneath the flywheel on that. Oh. So let's undo what I've done and clean this backing plate up real quick and get it on the new engine. Alrighty, there we go. Got the backing plate on properly now. Torqued those bolts down to 55 foot-pounds. Should be good to go, except I gotta find my pilot bearing that goes inside of the crank there. I think I've got one laying around the shop here. While I look for that, check out my next video right up here. Thank you guys.